just fucking shot myself.
Welcome back to Kinetic Energy 1085. I'm your host, Sawyer, and today we're diving into the world of handgun holsters. You might be surprised to know that there are actually various types of handgun holsters out there, each with its own unique features and benefits. When you're shopping for a holster, there are a few key factors to consider. Firstly, think about the material. Leather holsters are popular for their durability and classic look, while nylon holsters are lightweight and affordable. Kydex holsters are known for their snug fit and quick draw, but they can be more expensive. Another important consideration is the retention system. This is what keeps your gun securely in place when you're not using it. You want a system that's easy to use but also reliable. And lastly, don't forget to check the fit. A holster that's too loose or too tight won't do you any good. I now introduce Kinetic Energy.
Thanks, Mr. Producer, and thank you, Mr. Cowboy, for giving us that example of negligent discharge. So welcome back. Let's talk holsters today. The reason why holsters are important, I'm going to show you why. There can be negligent discharges. Someone can snatch your firearm from you. It could cause a negligent discharge if you're trying to holster your gun back in the holster. Some people like retention holsters and some people like no retention holsters. There's always a reason for each and every person's argument. I don't have an opinion either way. I'm just here to give you some examples. I have two Glocks on me, 10mm on a shoulder holster, and the Glock 23 on my hip. The Glock 23 on my hip is in a inside the waistband. This is obviously on a shoulder holster. First thing we'll talk about is a shoulder holster and what is called an actual retention holster. Why is this called a retention holster? Because of that snap. It goes around the slide and snaps on so that someone can't just snatch this thing off of you. And if you're fighting and jumping around, it's not gonna go anywhere. So we'll start with the shoulder holster, the good, the bad, no, not the ugly, and just let me be the guinea pig on whether you want a shoulder holster or not. So first thing, like I talked about, the weight is evenly distributed, and I feel it is a lot more comfortable than having a gun on my hip. It's very uncomfortable to have a gun in your hip, whether you have an outside the waistband or an inside the waistband. It just is. So yeah, I like the comfort, always gonna be easy access. And most people nowadays, if they're a bad person, they're always looking for the hip to try to snatch someone's gun. So to me, there's my benefits, along with, lastly, an actual retention holster. Problems associated with a shoulder holster. Just anyone, just wanting to make sure here. Highly unlikely, but here's one step you should really follow. Stop paying attention to tactical people with all their everything must be lightning fast. The draw, the shoot. It's an accident looking for a place to happen. Recently, I saw one example of where it was a waistband holster. However, someone went to holster their gun at a gun range. As they were holstering their handgun, somehow everything went in, and then this got caught on the trigger and depressed the trigger. And I guess she got shot in the leg, just like our cowboy friend did. Not the most likely thing, but it can happen. When you're reholstering your gun, it's not a competition. Obviously, the situation is over. That rabid deer that we always looked at, seems to always be a problem we have on this channel is rabid deer, is trying to attack you. It's about your size. Maybe it's even a kangaroo. Sometimes there's kangaroos. You don't want to fight a kangaroo. The power of their legs, and they got muscle, and they puff up, and they can stand that tall to you. They get rabies too. So after that threat is no longer, and you're checking, make sure there's no more other rabid deer or rabid kangaroo with machetes, just pay attention to what you're doing. Okay, fingers off the trigger. And you see me do this in my videos. Okay, just put it away safely. It's not a rush. The last downfall to a shoulder holster is, yes, it's retained. So in that crazy event, your motor skills, they kind of go to the wayside. Adrenaline's pumping, you might just grab and it's not going anywhere. You have to remember to unsnap and keep your finger off the trigger and then engage. So that's why some people don't like retention holsters. It's one more thing to think about when that rabid kangaroo or rabid deer is coming at you. We're still gonna practice good safety. So that's my bit on shoulder holsters. Now let's talk about inside the waistband. So here's the inside the waistband. Yeah, anyone wants to get, this is for instructional purposes. Let's not get all funny about showing a little skin, all right? So you can't really see it in the profile, right? I mean, everything seems kind of flat, except for maybe a little bit of stomach here. So looking at it, here it is. These clips go on the outside and they go over your belt. Yes, I've worn them with shorts before, but these go over the belt. And then the holster is on the inside. This is not a retention holster. Here's some pictures of the actual holster I bought. You can adjust the retention. However, with this inside the waistband holster, I am choosing to keep it loose. There's no retention. So obviously drawing straight up and coming out, finger still at the trigger. Let's do that for this. But anyway, I still keep mine on the hip, 3 o'clock position. I've tried 2 o'clock. I've tried appendix. I'm just going to say it doesn't work for me. A lot of people carry appendix. I don't want retention on this holster because, yes, in the event, obviously it's unloaded. And I do not recommend practicing fast draws. That's me because, bad things happen. But, in a hurry, that's all I have to worry about. Let's look at the holster. Again, this screw is your retention adjustment screw. I'm leaving it on full loose. These clips can be adjusted. Obviously, you see an extra hole here and on the back as well on the top. You can move these back, forward, to adjust the angle or pitch. I'm not gonna say that C word. God, it annoys me when people say, cant the pistol. Whatever. Adjustable, adjust it. Make it tilt to one side. Sorry, I gotta flag the camera. You can also have a threaded barrel on this one. Obviously you can see the gapping on that. Well, the size of the diameter of the hole. Most important things about a holster is one, can this trigger be accessed? Because yeah, if someone's trying to fight you for your gun, as they're trying to grab your gun, if their finger gets in there, bang! I'll give you an example in a minute. So one good thing to look out, another good thing to look out for with a holster is the trigger is completely covered. No one can grab the trigger itself and have, still gonna call it a negligent discharge. But, yes, someone can disarm me if they grab and they push this mag release. Unfortunately, but I'll still have one in the chamber. There is goods and bads to every holster. These are things you want to look for when you're buying a holster. Now let's talk about the Phobos paddle holster, which is also an outside the waistband holster. You hear that click? A little bit of effort to pull it out, but it's not going to come out. Would you call this a retention holster? Maybe. Let's just call it some retention. But there's a problem. I can get in there if there's fighting. Click. Highly unlikely any situation would ever involve that, but it's possible. The trigger can be depressed if there's a struggle and someone is grabbing at your gun. This, again, flap goes on the inside, the paddle, if you will, and then the gun's on the outside. But we have a problem here. It's visible as all holy heck. That's called printing. If you have a concealed carry license, I don't recommend an outside the waistband holster because you can clearly see it. And, obviously even though it's secure, still takes a little bit of effort to draw it out. But just something to consider again. There's pros and cons about every holster you're gonna buy. I'm just showing you what to look for if you're buying a holster. What do you care about the most? What do you care about the least? I have one more thing to talk about. This is just good practice. Again, every handgun has a trigger guard, so nothing's supposed to be snatching the trigger as it goes in a holster. But here's just a good recommendation to avoid something happening like in the first clip we saw. Time to show some skin and leg again, but here it goes. You want to go to put it back. Let's just say in the event something happens, you go to put it back in. If something were to happen, bang! You know where that guy, that was just me clipping it in, but anyway, it was just to give you an example. The cowboy in the beginning was drawing and pulled the trigger, and it went through his thigh and out the other side. When you're holstering, if there's an accident, maybe you holstered and just forgot your finger was there, and that happens. You're gonna get shot in the leg. You might say it's gay, you may say it's stupid, but here's what I like to do. Every time I go to put my gun back in the hip holster, I tilt back. Because if you see the angle, if it were to fire, it's firing back that way. Just a little something to consider. That's it. Responsible gun owners are all about safety. And I don't mean that jokingly either. So I hope you learned something. But if I can help people get educated on guns, ammunition, ballistics, holsters, gun safety, how to be proficient, then please keep coming back. You know what I noticed on my analytics? 92% of people that watch me on a regular basis aren't subscribed. Yes, I will ask for your subscription. So seriously, give me a comment, a like, subscribe. Super fine yet?